Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. It is Saturday, 10/28, October 28. Happy Halloween if you celebrate holidays like that. Happy Halloween. It's right around the corner. I remember when I was a kid, Halloween was one of my favorites because I always considered Halloween to be the gateway holiday. That's the one that starts the whole ball of wax going. Before you know it, it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's. It's the whole thing. So Halloween's the gateway holiday. Anyway, welcome to the channel. And man, I got my hat handed to me today. I started at like 7:30 this morning working on the video for the laser engraver. And I finished working on material about a half an hour ago before the show started. And then I had to get ready for the show, and I already had some stuff mapped out. But man, I'll tell you what, it's been a full day for me today. I got a lot done though. I got a lot done, I'll tell you that. Well, it looks like the old school crew is here, man. I don't think I've seen it like this in a long time. Reaper's RC was in first, so congratulations, man. You're in the game now. Fast Freddy checked in second, and then Hobie popped in, so he's gonna be off doing Halloween and birthday stuff. Now we got Elias, and then Dan, and now Wolfie and Bill. Man, we got the old school crew in. Tom Evans, Laura Harth. How you doing, Laura? Elias, good to see you. The David Knutz from the great state of Texas. Definitely the old school crew in tonight, huh? Ryan P says, a good day of ringing out the EF Extra NG, and now a sniffer of Buffalo Trace and some PilotJam. Been a good day. Sounds like it, man. Hey, speaking of my Extra NG, my 78 Extra is gone. That's gone. Dave took it. He came over to my garage and took it home, and we made a little deal. I'm not going to tell you what the new thing is yet, though. You're going to have to wait. But yeah, the Extra NG, the gray and silver, the 78-incher is gone, and Dave took that one home. So more to come on that, of course. And I got a little surprise on the desk for you. The patrons already know what's going on here. They've seen that. I can't believe how fast this thing came in. Anyway, it's going to be kind of a short night because I got to tell you guys, I literally got my hat handed to me today. And then with all the RC stuff going on, my daughter came home from college on her way back home, ran herself out of gas on the side of the road, and we're dealing with getting her some help on the side of the road down on the interstate too. So it's been exciting around here today. I'll tell you that. No doubt. Okay, let's cover the week in review. First off, we're the 6S power on a 12S plane. That was a cool video, man. And there's the old slick right there. Beautiful plane. Looks fantastic in the sky. And we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about that. I'm not going to give away any detail right now. We're going to come back to that plane. So there's a slick flying. Had a nice time flying it. And I wasn't wrong about the 70-inch form factor. It's not a lot different than the 67. So, you know, if you're on the fence between a 67 and a 70, either one. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out about it. I think either one would be good. I like the slick, of course. I like the way it looks, and it's a good tumbly plane. And what you didn't see in the video, we didn't film a second video, but I actually got up and had some fun with it too on the second flights. I was doing, you can ask Dave if you want, check in with Dave. I was able to get some pop tops going, you know, and I got them looking pretty good. I got some crankshafts going, and I did some knife edge work, and you know, a couple of other maneuvers. Did a little inverted flying around, and had a good time with it. It's a nice plane. Looks really good in the sky. I love it. So anyway, that's it for the slick. More to come on that. And then I did the dongle video on the YMZ FPV ELRS simulator dongle. I felt bad for the patrons because, man, I bought 3 of them. My intention was to give them away, and they didn't really work out that well. I still offered them to the patrons, but I hate the idea of like giving you guys stuff that's not working well. But it does do 5 channels, like you know, 6, 7 channels. So you can do 2 possession switches with it, and you get the 4 proportional channels. So in that sense, it works okay. But it's just not, it's just, you know, it's like, there are better options. I even think the Express LRS Bluetooth is a better option. So, and then of course, there's been some conversation in the channel about the squid stick. I know some guys have been fooling around with Real Flight, trying to get it to work right with Real Flight. I did not try Real Flight because the only version I have requires their wired radio, their interlink controller. So for me, it worked well for the things I was using it for. And that was AccuRC and the Wing Sim. No problems there. So anyway, the Squid Stick, yeah, it's decent. And the YMZ FPV dongle, I still have them. If you guys are on patreon.com and you're interested, just get me on patreon.com and I'd be happy to mail you one. I've got 3 of them. Next up was the little Wayne Lux K8. Man, that is a cool little device. I got to hand it to him. That's a neat little device. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, the PilotJam. So 4 videos. I actually filmed another video today, too. That was part of the job. But that'll be for later. That was a segment for another video for later. I'll talk a little bit about that. Looks like HB Jeff is here from Alberta. Is it snowing up there still, Jeff? Thanks for hitting the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Okay, that wraps up the week in review, so that gives us an opportunity to get in. And like I said, it's going to be kind of a quick night tonight. I don't have a whole lot, but I do have some things I do want to share with you. So the first thing we're going to do, I'll bring up the overhead camera, and I want to talk a little bit about the Slick. What I can say is the setup that I had was good. It was good. If you saw the maneuver where I was doing the climb straight up, it was accelerating going straight up. And I mean, generally, if the plane can do that, you're in good shape. When I talked to Extreme Flight about the setup that I was thinking about, he said, yeah, it doesn't quite have the same whole shot out of a hover that a lot of the other setups do, but it does well. And it did do well. So with that said, I don't really have a problem flying with the setup that I have. I think it's fine. But I am going to try this, and this is a 19x8 prop. This is a badass wood prop, and I don't mean that as an adjective. That's actually the brand. It says badass power system, so badass prop. And this is a 19x8. I'm going to stick that on there and try it just to see what happens. And we'll probably take a wattage measurement. We have a watt meter, so we'll probably take a wattage measurement on that one just to see what's going on. And I'll also do a wattage measurement with the 18.8 carbon fiber prop. I don't expect much of a difference due to the material, but obviously if you go up an inch, it's going to take a little more power, right? We know that. The other upgrade that I wanted to talk a little bit about, just to see you understood what was going on, are these. I found these on RC Battery. I ordered them, I think the day I came back from flying it, like Sunday night, Monday morning, and they got them here today. Check that. They got them here yesterday, Friday. So Liperior, these are the Liperior Air or Liperior batteries. These are about 40 grams heavier than the 5000, 75C 5000. So another 40 grams on the nose. I figured rather than just add dead weight, why not add battery capacity, right? So a little bit more weight, but a 1200 more milliamp hours. So I'm going to try these on the Slick, and I expect they'll do pretty well. There was some commentary about the batteries in the video, so we'll talk about that a little later in the Q&A. We're going to cover some of this, but I think the 6200, the other thing I'm going to do is the 2200 flight battery is going to get parked right next to the 6200 and stuffed up as far as I can go. And again, it was a little tail heavy, and the reason I know that is because it didn't want to come through a loop. You actually had to pull it through the loop. And then on landing, I literally had to do nothing. It just kind of sat there a little nose up on landing and just floated in. So not terrible. But the one thing that I'm trying to massage just a little bit is the fact that it was pulling toward the gear and knife edge. So I went into knife edge, it pulled toward the gear just a little bit. And so I just want to make that one little adjustment. With that said, it was trimmed right. It was trimmed correctly. So yeah, it just needs a little adjustment. And I already have the big battery up as far as I can. And I really don't want to add any more dead weight if I can get away with it. So I wanted to let you guys know on the Slick, 2 minor little adjustments. One is a 1 inch larger prop, and I may go back to the 18. I don't know. We'll see how it does. We'll measure the power difference and the flight time difference, of course. And remember, I got 7.5 minutes of flight time on the second flight, 9 minutes on the maiden. So sufficient flight time with the 18.8, of course. It wasn't killing, the motor. It wasn't saturating the battery with amperage. It was fine. And then I just want to try it and see if I can get a little more, and see what I think. I don't know yet. I don't know. So that's why I want to fly it. And then the Liperior 6200, we're going to give that a go. So that's it. Those are the upgrades for the Slick. And again, it's not in desperate need. The plane is flyable the way it sits. So it's not a terrible situation the way it is right now. I'm okay with it, but you know, we're just tuning a little bit, just a little bit of tuning, and I think we can make it even better. So that's that on the Slick. Ryan P says, I haven't tried badass props. I love them because they're in stock. They've got a broad selection. They're reasonably priced. They look fantastic. I don't like all the fancy stuff on props. I like certain props. Like I like the Falcon Silver. That looks really good. The XOR White. I've used those on a couple of planes, but I think these are just really elegant looking props. Very clean, and they're always balanced correctly. I've never had to balance a badass prop. They're always balanced correctly. So I like them. I like them, and they're priced reasonable. You know, they're not hateful on the price. So check them out. Innovative Designs and RC Dude. That's where you get them in the U.S. Innovative Designs and RC Dude. They sell them. How's the balance on the wood props these days? Yes, says Elias. He's right on it, right? Exactly. On these, I've never had to balance them. They've been very good. These are quality props, man. The badass power systems, they make good motors. Now they're making ESCs, and their props have always been very good to me. No complaints. So let's see. David says, don't forget to hit the like button. I agree, man. Hit the like button if you guys don't mind. It really helps out. There's 27 of you on and only 8 likes. Come on, man. Help a brother out. Smash the like button. What's up? Hit the like button. It helps. Nice day here. Getting better for a couple more, says Jeff. Yeah, a couple more. Good luck, man. I know it's coming. Let's see. Ryan Peace is almost perfect with Zor and Falcon. Yeah, the Zor and Falcon props are really good too. I really do like Falcon props. The problem with Falcon is that it's really hit or miss on whether or not you can get them. Even with the vendors that carry them, it can be very hit or miss. That's one thing I'll give Innovative Designs real credit for. They do a pretty good job keeping their stuff in stock, at least the props. Let's see. Be interesting to see if John has checked the badass, Ryan. There you go. All right, I think we covered that. So let's move on to the next subject. So that's it on the Slick. That's what's coming up on the Slick. Oh, the value of a basher. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this tonight because, you know, Oliver, you guys know Oliver's done some work with Twisted Hobby, and I think most of you know Twisted Hobby, and I know most of you know I have a Twisted Hobby Edge 540. Let me just tell you something about that. I've done videos on these types of planes before, and I just got to tell you, the value of a basher, I cannot overstate it enough. If you don't have a basher plane, go get one. And what I mean by a basher, I mean, I kind of referred to that laser, the 48-inch laser, as a basher. And I think the only real reason I said that is because I really didn't care what happened to it. It wasn't a very expensive plane, so I didn't really care what happened to it. But I can tell you guys that the EPP profile bashers, get a good one. Spend the money and get a good one. I cannot overstate the value of those enough because I've been flying mine quite a bit. And Dave, we were at the field the other day, last weekend, and I was hovering the Edge 540, and I kind of parked it right in front of me. You know, it was maybe 10 feet in front of me, 10 feet in the air. And Dave standing behind me goes, man, that's pretty good. He goes, pretty soon you'll be able to touch the rudder to the runway. And I was like, oh yeah, hold my beer. And I did. I touched the rudder to the runway and I flew it away. So it wasn't like a crash touch. I touched it and then took off. And the reason I say that I can't overstate the value of a basher enough is because they encourage you to try and open your envelope. They stretch your skills a little bit, right? That's number one. Number two, because if you get the right kind, like an EPP style, even if you do put it in, the fixes are generally pretty easy. And I've crashed mine pretty good a couple of times. But the fixes are pretty easy. So you're talking about some hot glue, maybe screwing the motor back on, maybe another prop, and that's about it. Maybe you break a servo if you do a really good job crashing. But so far on my Twisted Hobby Edge, that's all I've done. I've broken the nose a couple of times. I've glued it back on. I've broken my fair share of props and glued those, not glued those back on, but replaced them. And I just keep going back out and flying it over and over and over. So bashers, they encourage you. They'll stretch you. And the idea is that you really just don't care what happens to them. So you're not freaking out like, oh, I don't want to get low because I don't want to, crash my plane. And that's what happens on a plane like that, right? That's a terrible plane to practice on because they're not cheap. And you are a little nervous if you're practicing something new that you'll mess up and put it in. But I can tell you that when you get the basher and you develop that muscle memory, you can take planes like that up in the air and do stuff with them. So, you know, I've been taking these planes, the nice ones, up and doing pop tops and doing waterfalls and doing walls and doing parachutes and doing knife edge spins and flat spins and crankshafts because I practice them on the basher first. Now, of course, starting to sim, and that's how you teach yourself the maneuver. Then you go to the field and put a basher up and try it. And you'll get the idea. You'll start to get an idea on how it goes. And hopefully you'll start learning and improving your skills. And I can tell you guys flat out, without a question of a doubt, that my skills in 3D have improved over the past year, mainly because of what I've been doing with the bashers and then going up and reinforcing it with the nice planes. So that's the idea. Make sure if you don't have one, go get one. I don't care if it's Twisted Hobby, even if it's a generic profile plane from Value Hobby, go get one and work with it. It doesn't have, here's another thing that I've learned about bashers. When I first started doing basher style videos, I would evaluate them for precision. That's a big mistake. Don't do it. Just don't do it. They're not meant to be precise. What they're meant to do is teach you the muscle memory. So don't worry if it's a perfect straight edge or knife edge. Don't worry if it's perfectly straight. Just go out there and practice. And then if it's not perfectly straight, it's actually a benefit because you can learn to correct it on a cheap plane. So learn how to fly the plane. If it's not perfectly straight, that's actually okay because you can teach yourself corrective maneuvers on those bashers. So I'm a big fan, and I'll tell you guys right now, my edge generally goes with me to the field when I go. Generally goes. And I take it out and I practice. And even in between flights, it's like a cool down. You know, if you go out and fly a nice plane and you're like, okay, I stretched myself a little bit. I need to calm down a little bit. You get the basher out and you just toss that thing around and it's a blast. So very low stress flying. So that's it on the basher. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because I haven't really spent enough time on the Twisted Hobbies Edge because, you know, it's a profile plane. They're not all that good looking, but boy, do they teach you. So if you don't have a basher, go get yourself a basher. I can't recommend it strongly enough. All right, let's see. Bryce Allen says, hi from Pennsylvania. Just helped get a plane out of a tree. Okay, at a local club. Always good. Plane was intact. Well, good. I'm glad the tree saved the plane. Let's see. I'm looking for comments. Good to know. That one you can crazy glue back together and keep going. Yeah, that's right, Elias. Get a basher that you can crazy glue, hot glue, whatever, foam tack, whatever you do, and just keep going, man. Just keep flying. They're meant to be warriors. They're not meant to be pretty. So just get them out there and keep flying. Ryan says, Super Extra is awesome too. Love the bull on it. Super Extra is awesome too. Love the bull on it. Okay, cool. Picked up a VenLab 6000. I love it. Solid recommend. Yeah, man, those VenLab 6000s, those are cool, right? Very accurate, very accurate. Surprising. I compared that to my Fluke, the 87.5, and man, I was just blown away how accurate they are. And $18. So Ryan says, I agree. Yeah, you're talking about the basher, I guess. Chick with a Stick says, I've been looking at Twisted Hobbies for months. They just released a night flight video. Check it out. Yeah, get a Twisted Hobbies. They're good. They're straight and they're rigid and they can take a punch. They glue together when you break them. So William Tam is here. How you doing? I'm glad you could make it. Building my Twisted Hobby F22. Very nice. Very nice. Mike Bergen's got a Twisted Hobbies F22. Very cool. All right, that's it on the basher. We're cooking through it. Oh, the laser T-motor conversion. Okay. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. So I was out flying my laser V3 a couple weeks ago, like a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And while I was flying, I hit the throttle and it didn't go. You know, I was in the middle of a flight. You know, I've been flying that plane for quite a while, but I hit the throttle, no go. I brought the throttle back down to 0, hit it again, and it took off. And I'm in the air. And I never lost control of the plane. I could roll and pitch and all that, but it was like I had no punch. I got it on the ground, checked the prop, no problem with the prop. Prop's on there tight, ESC works, motor works. I don't know what the hell. It was a transient problem. Whatever it was transient. But I didn't like it. And I'm not kidding. Maybe I'm living right, good karma, I don't know. But I got contacted by T-Motor like a day or two later. And they said, hey, we love your videos. Would you be willing to take a look at some of our fixed wing products? And I said, yeah, I'd love to, because I've already had some of them. And they said, go to our website, pick something, and we'll send it to you. So I went and I asked for the 60-inch, the 60-inch T-motor for the laser because I kind of thought I would be replacing the ESC and motor anyway. So they sent it to me, and I did the first look video, which you guys saw. If you follow the channel, you saw it. And today I put it in the plane. So tomorrow I plan on bringing the laser out. It's going to be the laser, the slick, and this guy. Those are the ones that are going to go out tomorrow. We're going to try and film them, and we're going to fly that T-motor AM600 with the AM116. Now, one thing I'll say about the T-motor, aside from the looks, they're very good in the looks department, but I've got an AM600 on my Yak 60, so I already know it pulls hard. I already know that, but it's on the laser now, and I'm really excited to try it out because I like the way the laser flies, and I kind of get along with it. So I'm kind of anxious to try it, and hopefully my transient issue will go away, but we'll get out there and fly that one tomorrow. So I wanted to let you guys know the backstory behind why I made that change. And by the way, the motor that came out of that one is an X-Power 22. That's an Extreme Flight X-Power 22. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I probably need to put it on the bench and test it out and see if I can figure out what the heck happened. I kind of gave it a little visual inspection today. I don't really see any problems, so I'm not sure. But anyway, T-motor, AM600, and the AM116 ESC. I like it. I like the combo. I like the power it makes. Oh, and I use their prop too, that hybrid carbon fiber prop. I use that as well. Although I do have a wood prop for that one, so I might put that back on. We'll see. But the hybrid carbon fiber, nice prop. I like them. They're very rigid. All right, let's see. Oh, a Twisted Hobby Crack Yak, says Mike. You know, Freddie's got that 35-inch, Fred, 32, I think 32, 35. He's got a Yak. So he likes it. He flies it really well. And he's learned quite a bit on that one too, no doubt. Bill Cox says, my basher, the glue for the fix-up probably outweighs the actual. Yeah, that happens, right? From time to time. If you have, that's a well-loved basher if your glue outweighs the plane, that's for sure. All right, so that's it on the T-motor conversion. Again, I wanted to give you the backstory on what happened and why I made the change. And I also, do want to do a little bit more testing with that power plant. One thing I want to close out with on that T-motor system is that I like the combo. The motor and the ESC seem to work quite well together, and they should, right? It's the same manufacturer, so you'd expect their ESC to work really well with their motor. That's kind of what you'd expect. So that's the backstory. So Mike's, yeah, he's got the 32-inch Yak. Very nice. Very nice. Good flyer. Good flyer. All right, let's see. Before I move on, I'm going to give you guys a quick look at this. So this is I want to let you, I need to let you all know because I get asked quite a bit. The original Avanti is gone, and it's been replaced with the Avanti V2. Now, after the PilotJam, I'm going to try and put this together, get a stabilizer in it, and have it ready to fly tomorrow. That's my intention, is to have this one ready to maiden. Shouldn't be too much of a problem because I have the configuration from the old one. So it should be fairly easy. I should be able to move my radio, my gyro over and put them in this plane and move my configuration over to the Avanti V2 and hopefully be up and running in no time at all. But I wanted to let you guys know that the Avanti V2, you might say, wait a minute, why'd you do that? The original Avanti was fantastic. This one's a little better motor. They've beefed up the landing gear, and it's a YouTube channel, so I have to try out some new stuff. Anyway, these are available at Motion RC right now if you want to get one. They are kind of hard to get. When I first tried to get one of these, they sold out everywhere really fast. I wasn't quick enough. You got to be quick on this stuff. So the Avanti V2 is in stock at Motion right now. They've got a ARF Plus, ARF Plus, which means you put your own hardware, like your own motor and ESC in it. And I'm not sure if they include the servos or not. And of course, they got the PMP version. I got the PMP version. So the Avanti V2, I did want to give you a chance to get a real quick first look at it. My only concern about this is the darkness of the color scheme. I really these days prefer white. I like white better. It's easier to see. There's a lot of gray, a lot of red. I'm hoping that it'll be okay, but the Avanti V2. So it looks like the wing is very similar. It's got this step in the wing right here on the leading edge right here as it moves out toward the tip, the wing tip. I see some navigation lights. It's got the old ailerons here, split flaps, and the landing gear, the retracts, of course. Everything looks really nice. So I don't think I'm going to do a full first look video. I'm probably just going to put this one together and do the first look at the field when I get ready to fly it. So there we go. Avanti SV2, that's what's coming up. Thought you guys might like to get a quick little sneak peek at that one since you're hanging out where the cool kids hang out on the PilotJam. All right, one of the best 3D trainers you can get, the 32. Yeah. Definitely, man. That Yak. Fred does a good job with it. So I've had a chance to watch that one go. It's pretty good. All right, next up is Q&A. I told you it was going to be kind of short tonight. We're about a half hour in and we're getting close. Don't have much farther to go. All right, so let's spend a little time on Q&A. Let's see, Daniel, he says, hey, this may be a dumb question, but since I have 5 planes and 5 helis that are all with Spectrum, I need to know if EdgeTX will run them perfectly. Thanks for the help. See, that's a trick question because perfect, nothing's perfect. My answer was that you can fly any type of model, any modern type of model with EdgeTX. See, I'm trying to avoid the tricky part here. There's a tricky part. I don't know when he says Spectrum, I don't know what protocols he has. Like, I don't know if there's something pre-DSM, because you guys know I don't know Spectrum, but there's DSM, there's DSM2, DSMX. Those are all supported by the multi-protocol module, but that's not an Edge question. That's a multi-protocol module question. So I said, you can fly any type of model with EdgeTX. He said, so if I understand, my Spectrum receivers will bind with EdgeTX. See, that's tricky. It's not EdgeTX. It's the multi-protocol module. You can't confuse the two. And that's why I wanted to share this Q&A question with you guys, because EdgeTX supports the MPM. The MPM, the multi-protocol module, is the thing that has the software, the code that allows the RF technology to work from receiver to receiver. Okay? It's not an EdgeTX question. This is a question about the MPM. So I would encourage you guys, if you're not familiar with it, to make sure that you check out the MPM protocols page, because you get a lot of information about the multi-protocol module by looking at the multi-protocol module page, the protocols page. All right. So trick question, you got to be careful with those, and nothing is perfect. So that's, again, tricky question. All right. Here we go with more on the B6s. This is from Axel Ivy. He says, I wish I saw this video before I ordered mine. Was working fine when halfway through it showed a balance connection error. I got news for you. Once you see that one, it never goes away. That's toast. That means that charger's broke. So I unplugged it and replugged. Now it's showing cell error. Yeah, that's the same. It's the same error. It'll just keep coming no matter what. That's one of the errors in the failure that I saw. So there's something on the main board that fails and the fans. And still haven't heard back from SkyRC, and people are still selling them and people are still buying them. Too bad. Try to warn them. Spread the word, man. Don't waste your money on these chargers. And these are unsolicited. These are just people coming in and telling me. But I've seen enough on those where I know they're bad. I wouldn't recommend those things. All right. Stay away from them. All right, let's see. It's Joey Lowe says, using a dedicated power supply for the electronics, did you remove the power lead from the ESC? Yes. If you're going to use a battery, which I did on the Slick, I used a 2S 2200 to power the servos and the receiver. You definitely need to either disconnect power, and I did that by removing the red line from the ESC, or you can also put a diode in place on both the ESC lead and the battery lead. And that way, I did a video on a cheap redundant power supply for RC planes. You can have redundant power. Just make sure you put a diode so you don't have... Here's the problem. If you're flying with a 2S battery and over time you start dropping voltage, your ESC will start charging that battery. And you don't want to charge it to the point, if your ESC, by the way, is more than 8.4 volts. If it's not, and your battery is 8.4 volts, and say your ESC is only 6, then your battery is going to try and charge your ESC, and that's bad. You don't want to do that. So use a diode. Or alternatively, if you don't want dual power, or you're okay without the dual power, just disconnect the red lead. So that's what I did in my case, just took the red lead off. Now, I know a lot of guys are like, well, I like the dual power. You know, when it comes to flying with a LiPo battery, that's a pretty reliable power source, as long as you keep an eye on your voltage before you fly. I mean, let's face it, when we're flying the planes, you've got a main battery pack, right? You've got one of these guys that's up there flying. And if this goes bad, it's all going in anyway, and just about every plane, right? Or at least if nothing else, you're going to be dead sticking. So when it comes to reliability, I tend to trust the batteries as long as I know about the voltage going in. So that's the point on this question, is that if you want dual power supplies, fine, use diodes to protect the higher voltage potential from feeding the lower voltage potential. In the case of a battery, it's probably not that big of a deal. But the problem is, if you're pushing 8.4 volts into a battery, you just don't have any way to disconnect it. So I really don't want my ESC to act like a battery charger on a light post. So I would protect it with a diode no matter what. And then the same thing with the ESC going the other way. If you have, say, a 6-volt ESC or a 7-volt ESC and you plug in an 8.4 volt battery, guess what's going to happen? The voltage potential says we're going to push current into that ESC, and you don't want to do that. So use diodes, and you can avoid that problem. So you briefly mentioned this. I was curious about the correct way of setting it up. Yeah, just disconnect the red wire. The argument's out on whether or not you need ground. I know mechanically you do not need to have the ground on the ESC. It works without it. You can just run the signal wire. Although some people say it's better to use the ground, although I've never seen any empirical proof as to why. I know it works without it. The only thing that I can think of in terms of a benefit is making sure that the ESC is involved in the ground loop, in the ground plane. You know, it's common with all the other devices, but it certainly isn't required. I know that much. I've done it without the ground and it works. Okay, next question. Let's see here. That's question number 3. Let's see. My Life in Motion says, great to see this video. He's looking at the slick. I would love to see you do a video with 6S parallel pack and see how she flies. If you're going to have to add weight, it's probably better that it's extra battery capacity. So my response to that was, yeah, we're of like mind. And I never really thought about doing it in parallel, because half the objective in this setup in the first place was to avoid dual battery. And I mean dual flight packs, right? Dual mains batteries, because it's cumbersome. It's a lot to charge. You have to charge 2 batteries at a time, stick them in, get everything connected. So that was the whole point in running a 67-inch power plant on a 12S plane, right? 6S power plant on a 12S plane, was to use one battery only. So I didn't want to run them in parallel. I just wanted a single battery. That's why I went for a heavier one. And that was the idea. So again, he's kind of on it, right? I'm curious what would happen if you, instead of adding dead weight, added more battery capacity, which this plane certainly can handle. All right, that's it for that one. Old RC plane fart. He says, big bird maidens are scary. No gyro. I've not used a gyro. Never been a fan. I've not used a gyro. Never been a fan myself. Yeah, gyros bring out the debate. That's for sure. They bring out the debate. Gyros don't make great pilots. That's true. That's true. You do have to see here's the problem. And you guys have heard me say this a dozen times. When it comes to gyros, I don't use gyros as a crutch to fly my plane. I use them as a workload reduction tool. So in other words, let the gyro fight the wind. I'll fly the plane. That's how I use them. But yeah, the gyro thing definitely brings out debates. He says, thanks to all your videos, you converted me from an iX20 SE. What is that? They're expensive. I guess they're expensive. I never even looked them up. An iX20 XE to a TX16S. Well, cool. I'm glad. That sounds like Spectrum to EdgeTX to me. I can't scream as to how much people are overpaying for Spectrum junk. I learned the expensive way. Yep. That's one of the beefs I have with that company, is I think they're wildly overpriced. I just think they're wildly overpriced. Okay, let's see. Next one is Fox 2 Media 880. Says, I'm surprised how well it ran on 6S. Yeah, I wasn't really surprised, but I was glad that it did well. Put it that way. Let's see. It makes things so much more affordable in terms of motor, ESC, and battery selection by going down that path. So he's referring to the difference between a 6S setup and a 12S setup. He's not wrong, especially in helicopters. When you go to a 12S setup in a helicopter, man, it starts getting spendy. Those ESCs are not cheap. So yeah, that's another option. I never really thought about it from an economic standpoint, but yeah, going to a 6S setup, you definitely do save some money on the hardware as well. Looks like you could easily do the IMAX sequence on that setup twice as required in competition flying in the flight time you got out of it. That'd be interesting. I've never flown an IMAX. I've flown I've flown the F3A Sportsman beginner sportsman pattern. I actually did that with Dave a couple years ago. We did that with the Vanquish, the 48-inch Vanquish, and that was fun. I've never tried the iMac pattern. I don't know if it would do it twice or not. Well, maybe it's something we'll mess around with. If you guys want to see me messing around with that kind of thing, let me know. I can tell you I went to an iMac event. It was not a great spectator sport. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the skill. Don't mistake what I'm saying. The skill was amazing. Good pilots, very competent in the air. But, you know, watching the same exact pattern over and over and over again, it's, not really a great spectator sport. All right, let's see what's next here. NICAD Helipilot said because some we're back on the B6 again. He said because some manufacturers are catching on to the fact that it's more profitable for them to produce products that are inherently defective and will fail prematurely. Man, we're not even talking about prematurely. We're basically talking about out of the gate. So that's the problem. This is more than infant mortality, man. This is just really not good. I just think they're going to get shellacked for this product, to be honest with you. Also, I can expect that since this video, SkyRC won't be sending you any more products for review. Got news for you, man. SkyRC didn't send me this one for review. And on top of that, don't care. Because I've said this to you guys so many times in videos in the past. I care a lot more about you than any individual sponsor because you are the reason I'm here. And my word is all I have. So if I violate my word, then what point? You know, what's the point? You guys will be like, that's not a worthwhile channel to watch. So I do the best I can being objective, but fair. And, I want to be fair and give everyone a fair crack. And all I've ever said is do what you say you're going to do. That's it. If you give me a 22cc motor and you say, we are going to put out 200 watts, and I measured at 200 watts, which I know is ridiculously low, but let's just say I measured at 200 watts. I'm like, okay, they did what they say they're going to do, and then hopefully we get some longevity out of it. But yeah, when it comes to whether or not, if a sponsor drops me because I do an unfavorable review, I'm okay with that. I just try and be honest, but objective. That's my goal. Always has been, always will be. I care more about you guys. That's why I started the channel. That's why it's here. And by the way, on that note, I want to say thanks to my patrons because patrons help me make the videos that I make. So I'm not trying to hold you guys hostage, but I'm just saying that when the patrons sign up, they give me a little bit of independence, right? I'm not completely relying on sponsors. I like my sponsors. I appreciate everything they do for me, and I try and give them a fair shake, but I will tell the truth. And that's one thing I love about the patrons is that they're helping out and they help enable me to give you guys the truth. So they help me with content. They help me buy stuff. So if you're interested in what you see here and you want to help, you want to make a contribution, one of the best ways you can do it is head on over to patreon.com/RCVideoReviews. I've got a tier for $3 a month. It's literally like a cup of Starbucks once a month, and you can help out. And I do spend the money I make on the channel. I put it back into the channel, and that's a fact. So I appreciate my patrons. Thank you guys. And also welcome to the new ones. Okay, let's see. Dabble here, there, everywhere says, I just watched your video after reading many reviews on Amazon. I'm seriously thinking about buying it. Oh, he's talking about my benchtop power supply. So this is one of those deals where I don't always come back to hardware, but I do want to let you guys know that my benchtop power supply here, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We'll do something a little fun. I'm just going to take my phone. I'm going to hit the camera and I'm just going to show you guys. Right there on my bench. It's on basically 24/7. It never goes off. It's right there. I still use this power supply every day. The only complaint that I have about that power supply after checking it again, come on, stand up. The only complaint I have on this power supply after checking it against the Fluke 87.5 is that it's off just a little bit on the voltage. But it's not, it doesn't matter for what I use it for. I only use it, I need 5 volts. I need 8.4 volts. I need, 10 volts. Sometimes I crank it up and use it to charge batteries. I oftentimes have a little battery charger on the table. I just love that little thing. It's a good little power supply. It's been working good for me so far. Not a lick of problems. It's always on, and I've never, ever had a problem with it. It's quiet. It doesn't make any noise. It's not, when I say it's off by a little bit. We're talking, 4/100ths or something. It's small. It's not a lot. But for what I'm using it for, it's almost immaterial. It just doesn't matter. It's a non-event. So anyway, I thought, whoops, wrong one. We need the blackboard. I thought you guys might get a kick out of seeing that one again. I posted that because he was asking questions about that benchtop power supply, and I do actually use that on a regular basis. Still with me. I use it all the time. Okay, and that brings us back up to question number 1. So I'm going to go back and check comments, and then we'll see about finishing this video up. Let's see. I mean, that's what they literally, everyone run into and ends up into RC winds up doing. Let's see. Using a TX. What did I miss here? Oh, sorry. Let's see. The best 3D trainers, obviously the Flex Innovations QQ. Okay. Sorry, man. The Beast 2S UMX is okay. Good. We're having a little debate. Best solution, bro. Let's get all of them. Okay. Using a TX16S, I have an RX bat widget on the top bar, which sync after a few seconds, but my HD0 goggles, my battery V is saying 3.7 every time lately until I power cycle my quad clock. Yeah, weird. Get on Discord. Maybe someone on Discord will know the answer to that one. Let's see. There were no gyros 40 years ago when we first learned how to fly. Same with helicopters back then. Heck, not even a simulator. Yeah. Well, I mean, take advantage of the tech though, right? I mean, I try and take advantage of it, but you guys are right on one thing. Don't let it be a crutch. Freddie actually had a really interesting take on this too. He goes, if you get too reliant on things like crash recovery, then you don't learn how to recover it on your own, because you just rely on crash recovery. So there's that too, which is really, I mean, honestly, it's one of the reasons I don't really even use level mode. So for me, I just like to stabilize only, and it takes care of wind while I fly the plane. All right, let's see. Using gyros completely okay. It helps on windy days and always can be turned off on it. Yeah, that's right. David Canute says the iX20 equals 1.5 to 2K. What? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm glad. Hopefully he got him some money back and bought himself some planes with that money he sold that he got out of his iX20. I hope. Oh my gosh. Elias says watts are watts to fly, so therefore the higher the voltage, the lower the current, and the cheaper the ESCs. Yeah. That's true. Except one thing, Elias, that not all ESCs will support 12S. So it's not even really a question of current as much as it is the voltage. And I know you know what you're talking about when it comes to power, but you do have to be able to support 12S. And once you say that word 12S on the ESC, that's where the money comes. That's where the money comes. 6S is fine. Even a lot of times 8S is fine. But man, you say 12S, ooh, let's cha-ching. That's when it changes. So yeah, everything else is true though. The only one that 80% thinking about the hobby and 20%, am I the only one that 80% thinking about and 20% flying? Man, get out there and fly something. That's why I say it after every video. Go fly something. Don't just sit around watching YouTube videos. Get out there and fly something. That's why I say that. John, I have the same power supply, but gray front works a treat. Oh, okay. Good. Good to know. Good to know, Elias. Yeah, it's been great, man. It's a 300 watts power supply up to 30 volts, 10 amps. Perfect. Works great. Calibrated lab quality power supply is going to cost thousands of dollars. Yeah, I don't need that. I got my Fluke now. I'm good. My 87.5. I'm happy with that. 12S is a different animal. Yes, sir, it is. 12S, man. They see that coming. They say 12S, boy. They're like, woo, he's got money. He's putting 2 of these in at a time. He's got some money to spend. Let's stick them. So yeah, that 12S, man, they want your money for that. All right. That's it on the questions. That's it on the Q&A. A little bit about what's coming up. We'll be able to wrap this video up. How about that? About 45 minutes. Not bad. It was a good session tonight. Okay, obviously what's coming up, I want to do the maiden on the Avanti V2. Guys, I'm telling you, the Avanti, I am not a huge EDF guy. I'm not a huge EDF guy. I'll tell you, the one that cracked me, so I got out of EDFs. I got rid of all of them. The one that cracked me was the one from BitGo Hobby. They sent me the X-Fly Alpha, and I flew that around. It looked really good, had good power and good flight time. It had like 5 or 6 minutes of flight time, and I thought, man, this is pretty good. I'm impressed. And then when I started looking around, all these people were always talking about the Avanti. I'm like, all right, I didn't even really like the way the Avanti looked all that much, to be honest with you. But I thought, okay, I like the Warbird jets, I kind of like those better. But I thought, all right, I'll try the Avanti. So I got it and I flew it, and I was flying that thing for 7 minutes. And right before I got rid of the last one, I'm telling you, man, I was up there doing big air maneuvers, working on precision, trying to make the loops real big and clean and beautiful, Cuban 8s, inverted flights, knife edge stuff, just jet stuff. It's not 3D. And I got to be honest, it was kind of a decompression flight for me when I flew the Avanti. I actually really enjoyed it. I've been doing so much work in a 3D space. Now when I fly sport, it just feels very relaxing to me. So I had a lot of fun flying the Avanti. And that's why when the V2 came out and I got a chance to get one, I did it. So I'm looking forward to flying this one. So that's obviously coming up. We're going to take that slick out, that big, beautiful slick. That's going to go out again tomorrow. New prop, 6,200 batteries. Everything's going to be, I'm going to work on this one and get this one tuned in just right. I really like the plane, and I think that 70-inch, 67 to 70, if you're into 3D planes, that's the money. I'm telling you right now, 67 to 70, that's the money. That's the money. Love them. So that'll be coming up next. And then, let's see, we talked about the Avanti. We talked about the Slick. Oh, and the laser. We got the T-motor flight on the laser. That'll be coming up as well. We're going to try and fly that one and see how it does, see how it performs. I expect, married up to a spectacularly good airframe like the laser, I expect it to perform well. And I also wanted to let you guys know I got a new helicopter. The guys on Discord already know about this, but I did get a new helicopter, and there it is. There it is. This was, it's kind of, I think you need to glue it. It likes to try and come apart. But anyway, check out my little helicopter. I made that with that little K8 laser. I just took a 4x4 piece of plywood. This one requires 2 sheets, but I dropped it on the bed, hit go, and it did a nice job. I didn't sand it before I put it together. I know, I was lazy. I was actually pressed for time. But isn't that cool? Look at that. That's kind of fun. That's a cool little thing. I actually might put some of these in my Etsy store just to see if anybody wants them. I can cut these pretty fast, and they're kind of cute. It's kind of a cute little thing. Even for kids, this is a fun little thing if you have little ones, little people who would like to be able to, build a little model like this. You can, it just snaps together. You don't even need to use glue. There isn't a drop of glue on here. That's why that comes off so easy. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. The reason this one it's a little floppy is because I had to cut this one like 3 times. This is the one that I practiced figuring out the power settings on. So it's a little loose, but I know, once you get the power settings worked out, it won't be quite as floppy as that. It'll be a little more rigid. But anyway, isn't that cool? Little helicopter. That K8, man, I'll tell you something. Whoops, see, it's trying to come apart on me again. That K8 is a neat little laser because it's got the air purifier. It's an enclosed case. You can run it inside your house, and the low end one is $349, and it goes up to $499 for the 10 watt. So kind of a neat little device for small work. And what I really liked it for was the repeat work. And I love the fact that it's on the Wi-Fi. So check out that video if you haven't seen it. It's the Wayne Lux K8. I just posted it ahead of the PilotJam. And yeah, so there's my new little helicopter. Won't be flying this one. That's just going to be a little desk ornament. Neat little helicopter, right? Oh, and I got the airplane too. I got to redo the airplane. I broke it trying to put it together. Got to do a better cut, get that one put together. All right, let's see. Does the Express LRS and A3 Super 4 bug where everything goes to the right happen on? No, not on mine. I haven't. I use Express LRS EPW2s 3.3 and an A3 Super 4 on a lot of planes. I don't have any problems with anything going to the left. Steve Harris says, lol, I got a heli at an auction 12 years old. Cost me $25. Nice. Nice. Very good. Great show again, John. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. and a little bit of chit chat back and forth. Okay, so that wraps it up. You guys know what's coming. You know what just happened over the last week, and that wraps up the PilotJam. I hope you all had a good time with me tonight. I appreciate you joining me and chiming in and commenting and being part of the show. And again, I want to give a big shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys for helping out. Keep it coming. And if you like what you see here and you want to help, you can go to patreon.com/RCVideo-reviews. $3 a month. That's all it takes. A little extra help never hurts. All right, Elias says, thanks for the video, John. As always, informative and no BS. Not push sponsor for free gift. That's right, man. That's right. Never, you know, if they want to come to me, that's fine. You know, I like taking sponsored work, but you guys are more important to me than any single sponsor. I can tell you that. All right, fellas, that's all I've got for tonight. I'm going to go fly something tomorrow, and I hope you do too. Get out there and fly something. Take it easy.